Hi everybody, it's Irene with BrainStormAcres. And today I am going to plant some beans. Now these are pole beans and I'm doing something a little different this year, which is kind of the theme for this year. Usually I plant bush beans. In the past I have had, I think maybe 1 year where I was really successful with pole beans. But one of the problems we have here is it just seems like the plants always get going really well when some blasted rodent comes along and cuts off the stem, and that's the end of that pole bean. So I've decided I'm going to try it again this year. I already started trapping rodents probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. And we have an owl helping, and we may have a neighboring cat too that's wild helping. The devastation has fallen heavily upon the rodents population, and I intend to keep that up because I'll be darned if I'll share very much this year. So what I'm going to try is, earlier this year we planted peas, both shelling peas and snow peas, in gutters. Now we have some 10-foot long gutters. This is an old piece that I found in the boneyard. I found it was easier just to tape the ends on. We're not trying to make it waterproof, we're just trying to keep the dirt from falling out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the bottom, and then I'm going to put brand new soil on top. I hate to throw away soil, so I always either add it to the garden or something. And this year, because we're planting so much, I'm trying to recycle as much as I can so that I don't wind up running out at just the wrong moment. There we go. I now have rather dry soil in the bottom here, which is okay because I'm going to water the bejesus out of this when I'm done. But what I'm planning to do is plant out some pole beans. Now I have several different kinds of pole beans. Last year I tried to get some going, and they got going just in time to have their roots chewed off by the nematodes. I mean, not by nematodes, by the grubs. And this year we are going to try and avoid that by, I've already placed an order for nematodes to kill the grubs. Stay tuned to that because we'll definitely be doing a recording of that. We've never used nematodes before, but we certainly understand the concept, and we're very excited to think that we may be able to control this major pest that we have here, which is the grubs from June bugs, June beetles. Our plan is to spray all of the garden beds, and we are also looking at, we have continuous problems with thrips around here. Just the last couple of years, this is a new thing for us. We also have discovered that we can buy nematodes that will control thrips. So, because I never knew where thrips came from, kind of, you know, like the soil, the plants, where do they come from? So apparently they laid their eggs in the soil, and they spend some of their time in the soil, and while they're in the soil they're susceptible to nematodes. So we're going to be looking into that too as a possibility for controlling the problem. But meanwhile, I'm going to get this guy planted up. Now my plan is, ta-da, Hoss Tools, rattlesnake pole beans. I'm going to plant a strip of these guys about every 3 or 4 inches. They're treated with Therum, so I will not be licking my fingers, and I will be washing my hands well when I'm done with this. What that does is it keeps it from being as susceptible to various types of rot. All I have to do is plant these guys 1 inch deep. Now you'll notice I'm not planting them 1 inch deep in here. I'm just sort of poking them into the soil because I'm going to be putting new soil on top of this. If you watch our other videos, all we do is when these are ready to go in, we dig a trench, we soak this super well with water, and we literally slide it into the trench, and it's done. So that's all it is to it. These guys will take between 8 and 16 days to germinate. Some pole beans do germinate more quickly than that, but one of the things I wanted to do before I started planting today was to check the information on how long these take to germinate, because sometimes, you know, you're just about ready to give up, and then you read something about it and it says, oh, well, they're supposed to take that long, and you're like, oops, okay. So, which is a good thing to know. So I'm going to put a little water down first. Whee. I can hear my phone dinging, so I need to go check and see if there's some critical thing happening. We've been waiting for some packages to come in lately, and talk about screw up city. It's like, wow. Yes, you'll have it Monday. No, you'll have it Tuesday. No, you'll have it Wednesday. No, you'll... Can I just have my package, please? I don't order packages just for fun. It's because I can't get the stuff locally, or I don't want to have to go to Timbuktu to go get it. I'm going to pack the dirt in here nicely. Now, we were super excited about how well this worked for our snow peas and our shelling peas. Normally, I wouldn't even consider planting whole beans until the end of May. Now, our soil has warmed up sufficiently that I would probably be safe in that, but I'm still not going to risk that. And we really do want to get the nematodes in before we plant in those beds if we can. See, my tape has let go over here, so we will apply more. This is an ancient tape. Excuse me, Jack. Beep, beep. This is just an old crummy roll, but we will make it work. Of course, when we planted our snow peas in the other day, we actually had trouble getting the tape off. And today, of course, it doesn't want to stick. That's normal. Okay. Generous tape application. There we go. Nothing neat and tidy about that. All right, so that's all I'm going to do for the rattlesnake pole beans. I didn't bother to count them. I suppose I can go back on the video later and count to see how many I put in there, but there's one about every 3 inches. Let's take another piece of tape here too. Silly thing. There we go. So all I'm going to do is move this guy back there. And we're just going to make sure this guy gets watered every day. And hopefully in 8 to 16 days, we'll have pole beans. Now, I also have some specialty beans I had bought last year. I bought Gita and Red Noodle, which are both Asian pole beans. They produce long, skinny beans that are used in stir fry. There's a little voice in the back of my head that says somewhere along the line, 9,000 years ago, I had a green one, which would be like the Gita. Last year's were a giant failure. Some of them were eaten, some of them died, and then at the end, they were all eaten by grubs. What I'm going to do with these is I am going to plant them in a big pot. In a big pot or in a... What do you think about this? I'm going to plant these. Yes, I am. It's a matter of what I plant them in. Okay. Well, I've decided I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a few of my solo cups, which I used last year. So I'm going to make several of these. My problem is I don't know for sure exactly where I'm going to plant these yet. The garden is sort of up in the air in terms of layout. Usually by this time I have it pretty well worked out, but we're in the process of changing where we plant some things. We still don't have our straw bale garden completely worked out. We know that we're going to put a bunch of tomatoes in here in the hydroponics. It's all very confusing. Let's see. I want a couple of each of these. I have an idea of kind of where I would like to plant some of these, but I don't know if I can get the bed rebuilt in time to do it. But this at least gets me some plants started so that I'm not just sitting there and then wishing that I'd grown them later on, because then it'll be too late. I'm going to put 2 in each of these because these are not brand new seeds. They had very high germination rates when they started, but they're a couple of years older. So now what has happened to me in the past when I've done that is sometimes every single seed has popped up. Which can be kind of funny sometimes. I've had that happen already in in a couple of things that I planted this year, and you're like, okay, I now have, I planned on, 3 and I now have 8. But that beats the heck out of none, so I need to email the garden club. We're going to try and pull together something online, since obviously in person is not an option. And encourage folks to watch the channel and ask questions, because you have a lot of beginner gardeners there, unfortunately. And this being a rougher area to garden in, man, I tell you, I wouldn't want to be learning to garden in this area. I understand why so many people give up at it. These guys are ready to go, except I need to put a little bit more dirt on top. I really want to make sure they're in there. We're really trying to get a head start on some of the bugs that we get around here this year. I'm going to put these in a tray so that they can soak up water from the bottom, as well as get watered from the top. I think one of the reasons they hesitate to tell you how fast they come up on the package a lot of times is the soil temperature and stuff like that dramatically affects how fast your seeds are going to come up. I have had stuff totally stall out, either because it was too hot or too cold before, and you're just about ready to give up when all of a sudden the stuff pops out, or it pops out later in the season even. I've had that happen a couple of times. And then you're sitting there going, oops, what's this? I recognize the leaves. That's the stuff I planted months ago that I thought had died. Always kind of a challenge. Okay, and that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put these into a tray, and I'm going to water the bejesus out of them. And every day I'm going to check them and make sure they stay moist. And with any luck, within 2-3 weeks, we'll have some real plants. And that'll be still earlier than I could have planted them outside safely. So stay tuned. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We're going to be doing all kinds of stuff. And you'll have to come back, because you got to find out how this works out for us and where I wind up planting these guys, because I have no idea right now. So until later, have a great day. Bye.